The haunting echoes of 3 a.m. It was a dark and stormy night when John, a skeptical and rational man, found himself alone in his small apartment. He had always been dismissive of supernatural tales, considering them nothing more than mere figments of the human imagination. But that night his perception would change forever. At precisely 3 a.m., John was abruptly awakened by a high-pitched, bone-chilling scream echoing through the halls of his building. His heart pounded against his chest as he sat up, beads of cold sweat forming on his brow. The sound seemed to penetrate every inch of his small abode, sending shivers down his spine. Determined to prove his skepticism right, John grabbed his flashlight and ventured out into the dimly lit hallway. Each step he took resonated with an eerie creak, as if the building itself was alive with hidden secrets. The silence that followed was deafening, the air heavy with an unnerving energy. John followed the source of the sound, making his way to the abandoned apartment on the top floor. As he approached the door, an icy breeze seeped through the cracks, causing his breath to hitch in his throat. He summoned the last of his courage and turned the rusty doorknob. Inside, he found an old, decrepit space with dilapidated furniture covered in thick layers of dust. The scent of decay permeated the air, making it difficult for him to breathe. In the corner of the room, a faint light emanated from a flickering candle, casting eerie shadows that danced across the walls. Suddenly, the screaming sound returned, louder and more piercing than before. John felt a cold, clammy hand brush against his neck, causing him to freeze in terror. He turned around only to find himself face to face with a ghostly apparition. It was a young girl, her eyes hollow and filled with sorrow. Her mouth opened wide as she let out another agonizing scream that seemed to pierce his very soul. The ghostly girl beckoned John to follow her, her pale figure gliding through the apartment. Unable to resist, he trailed behind, his heart pounding in his ears. They descended into the basement, where the air grew thicker, suffocating him with a sense of impending doom. In the dimly lit basement, John discovered a hidden door, covered in symbols and markings he couldn't decipher. The ghostly girl motioned for him to open it, her eyes filled with a mixture of sadness and desperation. Hesitant yet compelled, John pushed the door open, revealing a chamber filled with ancient relics and forbidden knowledge. As he stepped inside, John's vision blurred, and he found himself surrounded by the tormented souls of the past. Their anguished cries reverberated through his mind, driving him to the brink of madness. It was then that he realized the true horror of the 3 a.m. screaming sound. John became trapped in a never-ending loop, forever tormented by the spirits that haunted him. The echoing screams of the past continued to haunt his nights, his sanity slipping away bit by bit. No matter where he went, the tortured souls followed, their cries growing louder and more menacing. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. John's once vibrant spirit was reduced to a mere shell of its former self. The relentless torment became too much to bear, as his mind was consumed by darkness and despair. And then, on one fateful 3 a.m., he succumbed to the madness. The police found John's lifeless body in his apartment, his eyes wide open in an eternal state of terror. The cause of death remained a mystery, but the whispers of the spirits suggested a gruesome end. The screaming sound, once a haunting enigma, had claimed yet another victim. To this day, the apartment remains vacant, the screams of the tormented souls echoing through the halls. Those who dare to enter encounter the same terrifying fate as John, their souls forever trapped in the nightmarish cycle of the 3 a.m. screams. And so, dear reader, beware the haunting echoes of 3 a.m., for they hold a darkness that can consume even the most skeptical minds. Should you ever hear those bone-chilling screams, pray that you find the strength to escape their clutches. For in the depths of the night, when the world sleeps, the souls of the damned are unleashed, and no one is safe from their grasp.